Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And I got a follow-up and a development in the debacle that took place with the superintendent of Des Moines, Iowa, Ian Roberts. There have been some further developments with all kinds of accusations and allegations. For example, it comes out that he had previous gun charges in his history. He was an illegal immigrant, as we all know. He did not receive a PhD from Morgan State University. So there's a lot of lies and hypocrisy that's involved in this particular storyline with this gentleman. He claimed to have been an MBA student at MIT, which they are saying is not true. He had a 1996 criminal possession of narcotics charge. He had a reckless driving charge in Maryland, and he claimed to have received a Principal of the Year award from George Washington University. And the folks at George Washington University said that is a lie, and he never was awarded Principal of the Year. So this is a situation where if all these allegations are correct, this gentleman falsified his entire resume. So when you're talking about vetting somebody to be the leader of a school district, the superintendent, many of these cities from St. Louis to Baltimore to Des Moines, Iowa, they did not properly vet this guy. And is this a situation of DEI going rogue and going bad? This is not a good situation, and there are several allegations that Ian Roberts does not even have a PhD. And remember, Des Moines, Iowa, the largest school district in Iowa, was paying him almost $300,000. Then the follow-up, which aligns with this story, is that he also had a conflict of interest with a consulting firm called Lively Paradox, founded by a woman named Nicole Price, that's based out of Kansas City, where this consulting firm and him, every place that Ian Roberts went, he hired this consulting firm, and Lively Paradox made a lot of money, and there were some issues about there being a conflict of interest. So we know he's been arrested by ICE and has been detained, and there is a lot of saga going on. And so for people that are talking about DEI, this is definitely a situation where if he was a DEI hire, this went terribly bad and has made national news. So the superintendent of Des Moines, Iowa, Ian Roberts, who was arrested by ICE, had a consulting gig. His districts repeatedly hired the firm. So every district that he went to, he brought this consulting firm with him. So let's find out what was the deal with this consulting firm, how they met, what kind of money was being made between the two, and let's get into this story. So 3 months into his tenure leading Des Moines, Iowa public schools, Ian Roberts asked the district's board for emergency approval of $116,000 in contracts. The agreement to provide training on culturally responsive coaching, the superintendent said, had to be approved within days. But the district's procurement manager discovered one contract was earmarked for a company that marketed Roberts as a consultant and speaker, sold his books, and helped raise his profile. Finance officials warned Roberts that contracting with Kansas City-based Lively Paradox would be a conflict of interest, and Roberts canceled the special board meeting he had requested back in September 2023. Since his arrest last month by immigration agents, the public has grappled with how Roberts became a longtime superintendent despite allegedly lacking authorization to work in the U.S., having a history of criminal charges, and touting falsified credentials. As I said, he claimed to have a PhD from Morgan State University. That is false. He claimed to have been an MBA student at MIT. That allegedly is false. The the Associated Press found that as Roberts' profile in education rose, his connection with Lively Paradox and its founder, Nicole Price, became rewarding during a period when many organizations championed diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. So this Ian Roberts guy, maybe he didn't consciously do it, but he found a way through DEI, which was started by President Barack Obama in 2010. He found a vestibule and a tunnel to where he was able to elevate himself to the highest part of academia for a district, a high school district, and he ended up being the superintendent in Des Moines, Iowa, making almost $300,000 a year. Signed a 5-year contract. So you're talking $1.5 million for this gentleman who allegedly lied all the way across his resume and also had an extensive criminal background. Blurring the line between his public and private jobs, the investigation found tens of thousands of dollars in contracts were awarded to Price, the Lively Paradox consultant, from school districts where Roberts held leadership posts. So everywhere Roberts went, he brought this consulting firm, Lively Paradox, with this woman, Nicole Price, with him. And there are several conflicts of interest, and even the way they met, allegedly at an airport under auspicious circumstances. The AP reviewed district records, court filings, and books and marketing materials published by Lively Paradox and Price, who met Roberts during a chance encounter at an airport a decade ago. They met all the people that are running around in the airport trying to catch planes. You're talking about thousands of individuals or hundreds of individuals, and they just arbitrarily met each other and developed this business conflict of interest relationship. Roberts, who remains in federal custody, has defended his outside work as helping transform education. Months after Des Moines, Iowa's officials blocked the contract with Lively Paradox, the district paid Lively Paradox $6,476 in consulting and travel expenses for Price's work, facilitating a 2-hour team building exercise at a December 2023 school board retreat, records show. That amount could be approved by Roberts without board approval, and the board was not aware of staff concerns about conflict of interest at that time. Roberts included on his original resume for the Des Moines position that he was an executive leadership coach at Lively Paradox and had been since its inception. As he hopped from one district to another across 4 states, Price co-authored 2 books with Roberts and wrote the foreword for another, promoting him as a former Olympian and inspiring educator known for turning schools around. She said, "I just find Dr. Roberts to be one of the finest leaders I've ever met," Price said in an interview after Roberts' arrest, when he allegedly fled from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents, ICE, and illegally possessed a firearm. Calm under pressure, leading with empathy, mission-driven and focused, and just being able to bring people together is what she said. So follow the storyline as Roberts changed jobs. Price and Lively paradox followed behind getting new clients. Price's clients have included a range of corporations and government agencies. Her curriculum vitae shows her school district clients were almost exclusively in Kansas and Missouri, and then in districts outside those states where Roberts held leadership roles. In a 2021 video posted on Instagram, Ian Roberts joined Price to celebrate Lively Paradox 5-year anniversary. She recalled targeting St. Louis public schools for business for the new firm when Roberts served as network superintendent. So I'm giving you this, my video is straight out of St. Louis, Missouri. So Ian Roberts had ties and even worked in St. Louis. Your district was one of the ones that I was like, okay, I got to get them as a client, Price said. But I went through the same RFP process everybody else did. Roberts said with his district position and Lively Paradox's affiliation, they made St. Louis among the first to take on the work of becoming a culturally responsive district. It's unclear how much Price was paid by the district, but records show she received one payment for thousands of dollars for a 2017 presentation. She also conducted a workshop there in February 2018, her curriculum vitae states. After Roberts became an administrator at Aspire Public Schools in Oakland, that public charter school system paid Price, Lively Paradox, while Roberts was there, at least $8,300 for services, according to a disbursement report covering part of 2019. Price provided leadership training to the Mill Creek Township School District in Pennsylvania in 2020 and 2021, while Roberts was the superintendent there at the Mill Creek Township School District in Pennsylvania. And subsequently, since he's been arrested, Mill Creek Township School District in Pennsylvania has sued Ian Roberts for falsifying and misleading who he was on his resume. But Price said there was no impropriety in her work at Roberts' districts, just a long-standing commitment to mission-driven work and empathetic leadership. Price says she provided one free training for Des Moines, Iowa school leaders, which the district confirmed occurred in August of 2023. St. Louis Public Schools, Aspire Public Schools, and Mill Creek Township School Districts did not respond to requests for comment. So this is where it gets a little bit sketchy and confusing on how Roberts and Price formed this partnership after a airport meeting. Price recalled that Roberts was dressed impeccably when they met in 2014 at a North Carolina airport. She was working then at a leadership firm where she focused on diversity and inclusion. Price credited Roberts with teaching her about how education was different than corporate fields that she had worked in. They discussed his idea that rather than firing unproductive subordinates, education leaders should give them every chance to develop. Price said they kept in touch, and in 2016, she was fired and founded Lively Paradox, in part to focus on providing training to urban school leaders. Roberts was with her from the beginning. In 2017, the two co-authored The Power of 7 Second Chances, their vision for managing schools with compassion. They later co-authored Dangerous Indifference, the case for culturally responsive leadership, calling for leaders to embrace and understand differences. Price wrote the foreword for Roberts' next book, Radical Empathy. Price said the books were self-published and available for purchase online. Didn't really have a great sales, but because Roberts mostly ordered them so he could give them away at conferences. So they didn't sell well. She said the two worked closely for years to coach school leaders and transform organizations. It's unclear how much outside income Roberts received. Lively Paradox advertises a 2-day high-performance workshop for $38,975, keynote presentations for $15,000, and coaching packages for $9,995. There's a lot of money that's being made and moved around. And where is the focus on the kids who are our future today? It seems like this became Ian Roberts and this young lady, Miss Price, became this whole fiasco became their own piggy bank. Their collaboration has continued with Roberts being behind bars. Price said on September 29th, she was told by Roberts' wife, to move forward with a book called Unshakable. This is a fourth book, a compilation of Roberts' inspirational messages to Des Moines Schools District. Price says she knew nothing about his immigration status and was shocked by his arrest. And this is where Ian Roberts got flagged for conflict of interest. When he was hired in Des Moines, Iowa in 2023, the board members knew of Roberts' outside work. His contract, which included an annual salary as the superintendent of Des Moines, Iowa, of $286,716, allowed him to undertake occasional consulting or speaking engagements, writing, lecturing, or other professional endeavors with the board chair's approval. The sole agenda item for the September 29th, 2023 meeting with Roberts' recommendation to award $116,000 to guess who? Lively Paradox and another firm for professional development, using federal funding intended to improve school leaders' performance. The document said the district evaluated 4 vendors. Roberts was recommending the 2 that best met the district's needs. And out of the 2, who do you think he recommended? Lively Paradox. District procurement manager Joanne Philavon discovered that Lively Paradox listed Roberts as part of its team. District spokesperson Phil Roeder said she and district chief financial officer met with Roberts to discuss the conflict of interest, he said. Roberts told board members the meeting was no longer necessary after he received another update from the finance team. The board did not know the reason Roberts canceled the September meeting when he was recommending Ms. Price for their December retreat. Roeder said, in July 2024, the board learned of Roberts' involvement with Lively Paradox when they considered hiring Price again. The board's chair, Jackie Norris, said concerns of a conflict of interest were then addressed with Ian Roberts. She added, I strongly feel that a review is needed for all the expenditures related to the former superintendent. So they had their own piggyback going on between Nicole Price of Lively Paradox and Ian Roberts. Everywhere Ian Roberts went, the first consulting firm that he recommended was guess who? Guess what? And guess who? Lively Paradox. And if anybody knows how the education administration system works, many of the districts use consulting firms for leadership programs, for development of their administrators and their teachers on improving their school system. But it looks like that this Ian Roberts gentleman has been conning his way all the way throughout this country under the auspices of DEI, and also had conflicts of interest in bringing his friends along and using the district's money as his own piggy bank. This is an unfortunate situation. Education is the key to your freedom, and our children are the key to our future. Tell me what you think about this debacle that took place with this Ian Roberts gentleman, DEI, and his auspicious relationship with this Nicole Roberts, Nicole Price person who owned this Lively Paradox consulting firm out of Kansas City, and they made hundreds of thousands of dollars together, and they thought that they could keep it in the dark. But as we all know, it came out in the light. What is unseen will become seen, and the unbelievable will become believable. Tell me what you think. This has been a Trevor Donald experience.